Brian, I'm still not used to the mustache, but I like it. I just I've known you for so long that it's just so weird.
Right. This is version two, I think, or maybe three.
Uh,
I was trying it
the good
really
Lord,
long and then yeah, it
the
got
good Lord
really
at least she
long and
granted
then
you
I
good
cut it.
hair for life.
That's true.
So,
I
screw
got
you for having
very lucky.
good hair for life. Meanwhile, the rest
I
of us are like, what's happening?
mean,
I got lucky too. I
you
feel like
did.
we should give it another minute or two
Yeah.
for other commissioners, in case people are wondering why we're still just making small talk. But the rest of my brothers have very receding hairlines, and mine
Wow.
is it's fine right now. Maybe it won't be, but they
Well,
started
once
receding in their like mid-20s. So
wait till your kid hits 2 or 3. That's when it'll start receding.
I did
Kids are
hear, I
they're
did hear
fantastic at that
somewhere,
age.
right?
oh,
I
sorry.
did hear somewhere that after like age 30, like if you hit the 30 benchmark and you haven't lost your hair, you're like in the green.
Good to know.
I heard that. I have no idea what
I,
if that's like scientifically proven, but I've heard that across the board.
I just need to figure out how to get my hair to look like yours then, and then I'll be golden.
Well, come over. I'll do it for you. We'll do a couple of different hairstyles.
uh,
Well, I don't know where the
and
other.
Josh, just real quick.
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, like, if you want to recognize me, or like, just I'll jump in, but like right after the like roll call and then the notice, I'll jump in and like move to suspend the rules to adopt the consent calendar resolution. That way we can do the consent calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and
Very
just
cool.
for Brian and Rashida, Brad noticed that we have never actually adopted a rule around allowing for consent agendas, and those aren't allowed by default in Robert's rules. And we didn't put anything in our bylaws or SOPs about it. So we should just pass something today to do that. Um, and Commissioner Hawker mentioned that she is in some traffic, and I'm not sure about Commissioner Grant, but we have 4 right now, so we have a quorum and should go ahead and get started because it's 5 after. So I now call the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Welcome to ANC 1E's May General Body Meeting. A few administrative notes. Today's meeting is being recorded, and yep, it is still being recorded. Closed caption is available for each user by clicking the button on the toolbar below. You can submit questions through the Q&A function also located on the toolbar below. Commissioners will be keeping an eye on the Q&A throughout the evening. And if you are calling in rather than participating through the web, you may raise your hand by dialing 9. I will now ask Secretary Howard to please conduct the roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard here, Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Hawker, Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Newland, Commissioner Jacobson,
Here.
Commissioner Footer,
Present.
with 4 commissioners present and 3 absent. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard. And Commissioner Newland's resignation should have taken effect by now. So I guess it should be 4 out of 6. But I'll confirm with him that he actually filed that because I did not see it in the register.
Okay.
Now we're on to where we usually do the consent agenda. Commissioner Howard.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move to suspend the rules to consider a resolution that was on the agenda in regards to creating the consent agenda. It is Robert's, the bylaws allow us to do administrative procedures, and this is a common tactic in Robert's Rules of Order. We just never had the formality on record to do it. So what I wanted to do was first move to suspend the rules and consider resolution 202605-01. It's linked in the agenda there, but essentially it adds to our standing operating procedure manual to allow for the consent calendar. So we would my motion is to suspend the rules and consider it. And once that passes, then we will consider that resolution.
Seconded.
All right, we have a motion that's been stated and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
I'm off camera, but I say aye.
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 All right, with 4 in favor and no other commissioners present, this passes. Thank you for noticing that, Commissioner Howard.
Thank you.
Really quickly, I'm so sorry. Oh, never mind. Continue.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Never mind. Commissioner Brown, I think, was trying to get in a different way, but it worked. So never mind.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I just switched
Yeah.
devices. I'll cut my cam on soon.
Awesome.
And that was just a motion to suspend the rules, right, Commissioner Howard?
Right. Now we need to actually consider the resolution.
Okay, yep. So I'll just stop here and let people read, but the summary that Commissioner Howard provided is accurate from what I read here. So let's give folks a moment to read through it, and then I'll allow for discussion.
And I'll say there are two components of the resolution. The first is actual, like, the process to set up the consent agenda, and the second is just how it's reported in the minutes, which specifies that we have to, we can't just say like consent agenda approved in minutes. You have to list everything that was in it that was approved. And this does not include, I think the biggest thing that cannot be on the agenda is like approval of grants, because grants require a public presentation first. So anything that requires an additional thing can't be on the consent agenda. That's just what it clarifies. That's just standard language from ANC.
You go back up real quick.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
And Commissioner Howard, can you repeat that? So on the minutes, it will reflect.
Each of the
It
items.
just says, yeah, the minutes say you can't just say the consent calendar was approved. You have to list the individual items that were part of it in the minutes. So there's a record of each item.
Were we not doing that before?
No, we're doing it now. It's just like we just didn't have a rule written before that allowed it and told how to document it. Now it's there.
Yeah, the rule is just formalizing what we've been doing as standard practice.
Gotcha.
I'll open the floor to discussion now that folks have had a chance to read through.
And move to adopt resolution 202605-01 establishing consent agenda.
All right, there's a motion that's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Right. There's been a motion moved and seconded to amend ANC 1E standard operating procedures to allow the use of a consent agenda at regular public meetings. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? And any abstentions? All right, with 4 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries. All right, moving on to the rest of the agenda. We are now to the consent agenda. And I don't think I mentioned this, but per DC law, the ANC 1E meeting was noticed to the community via listserv, social media website, and e-calendar. And actually, we didn't make a motion to adopt the agenda generally, so I will do that first, and then we'll jump to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the agenda.
Can we go through it first?
Motion just starts the debate.
Yep. Are we good on this section? Okay, I'm gonna scroll and someone can tell me to stop.
Do we need, I guess it doesn't really matter where.
Yeah, I know.
The 2605-01, is that the consent agenda we just did?
No,
Yeah,
that was,
yeah, no, that was 01. I was
well,
adjusting the numbering.
that's where it would normally be brought up as a new business. We suspended the rules to bring it up first so we could do the consent agenda.
And it's 01, not 02. Awesome.
Yep.
For the first, well, I guess we can go into debate.
Debate for the agenda.
No, for the resolution number 3. Is there a resolution number 2?
Yes, the numbering is just a little messed up because Commissioner Howard and I have been working through some things over the past couple of days to try to streamline the meeting. A lot of it was work that he did, so thank you for that, Commissioner Howard. But just some communication gaps that were on my end in terms of the numbering of resolutions that
Well, to be fair,
will get addressed as.
They were numbered in the drive. How they were listed in the drive. I didn't know we did them numeric order on the agenda, so my bad.
It's okay. We'll fix them as we go.
Secretarial responsibilities.
But there's been a motion moved. Is there a second?
Second.
For adopting the agenda. Okay. The motion's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. And any abstentions? All right, with a vote of 4-0-0, the motion carries and the agenda is adopted. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. And
Mr. Chair, just note, Commissioner Grant has joined us.
Yes, sorry guys, I'm late.
All good.
Oh, geez, thank you.
I will reflect that in the minutes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard. Just a reminder, as we just discussed, all matters listed under consent are considered by the Commission to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any commissioner may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. The consent agenda includes approval of ANC 1E's regular public meeting minutes for March 2026 amended, and approval for the minutes of April 2026.
And the amended is that we approved the minutes last time. I didn't fully finish them. I realized after we approved them. So I went back to the transcript, finished the minutes, and now resubmit them as amended for consideration. So again, my bad. Still adjusting to secretary. Thank God for transcripts. We're getting there.
Yep.
Are
there any items?
Consent?
Perfect. Commissioner Footer has moved with the unanimous consent that we adopt the consent agenda. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted. All right, community announcements and presentations. Commissioners and members of the community may use this time to make public announcements, distribute information, or alert the community about issues. Speakers have 3 minutes. If you are in the audience and would like to speak, please raise your hand. We will first go to Eliza Roche Robinson from Councilmember Brianna Nadeau's office, and I will promote Eliza to panelist. And Enrique, since you're here too, I'll promote you to panelist too, but don't interrupt Eliza Roche.
Hey everyone, can you hear me and see me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Good evening. It's good to see you guys. If you do not know, my name is Eliza Roche Robinson, and I work for Councilmember Nadeau in Constituent Services, and I only have a few items. So first is budget. So budget oversight hearings are done. All committees in the council have issued their reports with recommendations last week. And this was basically about finding and moving money to plug some holes in the budget. For Councilmember Nadeau, her committee on Public Works and Operations was able to send funds to every other committee to help fill gaps in the safety net created by the mayor's proposal. And this includes supporting more people in temporary housing to expand food access, wellness for seniors, and programming for teens. The committee also found ways to take small actions, such as licensing and building code changes to affect big results like building more housing and speeding up business contracting issues. The committee also have found funds to continue and expand the public restrooms, including one in Ward 1 in the general area of the Shaw Metro and the Shaw Library. The council member also sent an email last week detailing the changes her committee is now proposing, and you can find this on her website at brianneknadeau.com, and that will be in the news section if you are interested. Council members had a conversation last week and this week about the need for revenue raisers, so ways to capture additional revenue to plug those holes. We anticipate some of those will become proposals, and Councilmember Nadeau has expressed interest in this, but no specific proposals have happened just yet. Today, council members spent hours going over all of the committee changes and how they're going to fill some pretty large remaining gaps. And these are things like the Pay Equity Fund for early child care educators, the Alliance Healthcare Program, TANF, and other programs. Chairman Mendelson will take all of these committee reports and generate his own version of the budget that will incorporate most of the committee recommendations, but with his own twist. Council members will take that version up on June 9th, and we can expect some proposed amendments and some of those revenue raisers. The second and final vote on the budget will be on June 23rd. Lastly is a curfew. So on curfew, the council passed legislation to allow the mayor and MPD to impose curfews. Councilmember Nadeau did not support, and this is because she does not believe it's right to use policing to solve a social issue. Curfew violation is not a crime, and we should not be treating kids like criminals. So Councilmember Nadeau has proposed two amendments to reduce this harm. One is a sunset, which would be for December 31st, 2028. And this sunset would force the council and the mayor's hands. And they can decide on if they are serious about the alternative programs.
I'll give you another minute, Eliza.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Just pretend you're on
I'm
the
almost
Oscars.
done.
Just pretend you're at the Oscars.
Okay. So the sunset will force the council in the mayor's hands to see if they're serious about all of the alternative programs that they have been talking about and will help youth better than a curfew. The second thing is prohibiting MPD from bringing curfew violators to detention centers or police stations because it does terrible damage to children to be put in that type of environment, and evidence has said that this pushes them to criminal behavior. But this still will allow MPD to handle those who violate the law like they would normally. The teen curfew law with Councilmember Nadeau's amendments will go into effect late this summer. So if you guys have any questions, feel free. But that's all I have.
Yeah, so commissioners, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Same for members of the public, and I see Commissioner Footer has his hand raised, so please proceed.
Yeah, can you go into that with a little bit more specificity? So the emergency legislation from the summer, I guess last year, was not criminalizing the behavior. It was more of getting people back to their homes, and that was a big point of contention. Did the new piece of legislation change that. And so now, as you're saying in your words, that it is now a criminal act and they will now be prosecuted, or they will have a criminal record demonstrating that they violated curfew, and they're
So
going to a
it
detention facility.
so they will not have any criminal they will not be charged as a criminal at all. And that's what the amendments are for, so that that does not happen.
But right now, without those amendments, they are. Is that what you're saying?
Um, I guess generally it could be a possibility, but with her amendments that make sure that they're not going to be charged as criminals.
Well, that's not fair, because generally that could be a possibility. It means that it's up to discretion, and that's not the case. It's either that if they are violating curfew, they are being arrested and then booked and then prosecuted, and therefore have a criminal record, or not. There's no ambiguity in there. So can you just outline a little bit more, what exactly is the amendment doing?
So the amendment is making sure that they are not being charged as a criminal at all.
But right now they are. Is that what you're saying?
I don't have the specifics on that, but I can definitely follow up. I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Yeah, because that's a really big deal.
Okay. I can definitely follow up with you about that,
Great, thank you.
of course.
Thank you, Commissioner Footer.
Mhm.
I don't see anyone else with their hand raised, so I'll go. I had a couple of questions. The first is around Bruce Monroe. Do you know if the funding has been found for that yet? I know there was a piece for like a smaller amount. I think it was less than $1 million for like maybe refinancing work, but I know there was another $20 million gap or so. Is that right?
Um, I have to check in on that, but I can definitely tell you tomorrow in our subcommittee meeting. We should have an
Okay.
update.
And then the second piece is I saw in the mayor's order for her version of the curfew that she was encouraging DDOT to work with the rideshare companies and taxis, or sorry, DDOT to work with the micromobility companies, and then Department for Hire Vehicles to work with taxi services and the rideshare companies to not allow those services to be used in a curfew zone, which would impact much more than juveniles, obviously, because if I can't, like, I think U Street was one of the areas. If you're on a cabbie and you're trying to bike through the Capitol, through the mall, you'll have issues at times where it'll say like you're not allowed to be there. And I want to avoid that happening for the curfew areas. Do you know if anyone on council is following up on that?
I can definitely find out. I'm not sure, but I can find out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I
Of
just tack on to
course.
that? If that is the case, highly encourage the council member to offer some sort of amendment, because Commissioner Jacobson is right. Like, I live in one of the regular curfew designated areas, and that would have a huge economic impact on the small businesses in our neighborhood.
Yeah, that's very valid. So I can follow up on that.
Yeah, and I can send it along if folks hadn't seen that language. I was really surprised by it. So, do other folks have questions or comments? And members of the public, if you have anything, feel free to raise your hand. All right. Well, thank you, Eliza Roche, for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Have a good day. Enrique, you are up next, and you'll have 3 minutes. And you should see a clock on my screen in a moment. Nope, that's 30 seconds. 3 minutes is what I said. You can go ahead, Enrique.
Hello. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you can hear a little bit, but my voice has been shot for a few days, so I apologize for not sounding that great. I'm still recovering, but I do have a few potential updates that I wanted to share. So first off, I wanted to share the one thing in particular is with our upcoming Ward 1 roll-off is that some details that I wanted to share for all Ward 1 residents is that Saturday, June 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will be hosting our annual Ward 1 roll-off, where Ward 1 residents are able to dispose of any bulk items or any particular trash that they have, that DPW will be able to take and dispose of properly. This does include e-waste as well. So if there is any particular e-waste that any resident is looking to get disposed of, that is going to be upcoming this Saturday, June 13th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it'll be at Leroy Park, which is 268 V Street Northwest. So that is just some upcoming promotion for our roll off this year, and also as well, something that we at the Ward 1 Mokers are continuing to flag is any continued 311s with illegal dumping or rodent abatement. That is something that we're continuing to do, and hopefully that we're looking to get input from commissioners as well. Any well, my video is going in and out. Sorry. Of the I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Any 311s, that please forward them to me if any particular issues are going on, and to end out as well. I'm pretty sure that some of the ANCs are familiar with 3553 11th Street Northwest, which is the more residents. If some of those that are familiar as well, been trying to get resolved issues with DC Water, Washington Gas, on DPW with construction and hopefully issues resolved there, but we hit a few roadblocks in that particular venture. So I've been trying to do my best when it comes to resolving those particular issues when it comes to the more residents. So unfortunately, I don't have any particular updates, and also hopefully get to resolve that ASAP, since I know that that's been an ongoing issue for a few months now. And also I see Laura from the Human Rights. I would give her a minute to provide a
that's for us, Enrique.
Oh, that's for you? Okay.
Yeah. Did you have anything else?
No, those three main things are my particular updates for the ANC and for the public as well.
Thank you, Enrique. Since I just asked this question of Eliza Roche, I'll ask it of you too, regarding the curfews and limiting the use of micromobility devices and rideshare and taxi companies. Do you have any understanding of like some of the logic behind that? Because that affects much more than just the juveniles.
So I'll say that the logic behind that is because what this goes back to MPD's reporting of a lot of these instances, especially in the hotspots when it comes to Navy Yard, U Street, Georgia Avenue. A lot of the people that go through these areas are using those rideshare e-bikes, scooters as well. So by having that particular sort of cap or being able to track those particular devices, that is a way to hopefully track a particular area where if we can see that John Doe was flagged by the company to that they were in this particular area at this particular time, which coincides with the same time that the incident occurred, they're able to flag that and track these individuals down. So that is the logic that is behind that. Now that carries
this is something different, because this is just saying that those devices either can't be used or the speed need to be severely limited in those areas.
Okay. I was under the impression that I was like the tracking devices, that's what you were going towards. But
Oh, no. The language specifically says requesting the District Department of Transportation to order providers of rental e-bikes or scooters to geofence specific areas and bar the use of those vehicles in those areas during curfew hours or slow the maximum speeds of e-bikes and scooters, and requesting the Department of for-hire vehicles to order taxis and for-hire vehicles to not enter specific areas during curfew hours. So if you could just follow up on that, I'd really appreciate it, because again, I don't think that happened with the curfew areas yet, because I assume there's more coordination that needs to be done with the companies before that could be implemented, but it would have a huge impact on our area if folks couldn't bike through to get home.
yeah, I wasn't familiar with the new language, so I would definitely have to follow up with you on with that.
Thank you. Other commissioners or members of the public?
Do you happen to know if at the Ward 1 trash dump thing that I couldn't find anywhere on the website about TVs or electronics? I've got a flat screen TV I've been trying to get rid of for like 3 months and no one will take it.
So I would have to find that very quickly, but at least for our roll-off specifically, yes, we will be collecting e-waste, which does include
Yes.
TVs, batteries, fans, speakers, anything like that we will be able to take. But outside of that, I do know that every weekend at Stadium Armory, DPW does have
Okay.
their own collections as well. So
First of
that is
all, not every weekend.
something.
It's 1 weekend a month, 1 day a
Oh,
month, and some months they skip it completely, and it is a freaking madhouse. Like, I got there, made a reservation,
the lines are huge.
did the whole thing, and they literally shut it down in front of me at 2 o'clock, even though my reservation was at 12:30, which is when I arrived, creating like a mutiny of folks running their trash and throwing it over the fence. Like, there were 3 fender benders. Like, it really needs to be looked at. If you can encourage your superiors, it was a terrible, one of the only like terrible experiences I've had with city services, because for the most part, I understand certain things. That was a complete mess, and just a really terrible experience. So I encourage. That's why I'm so excited about these roll-offs, because it's like, hopefully it's better than that. But I would encourage to have someone look at that if you can. It was just not a fun day. I was one of those 3 fender benders. So
Yeah, I was trying to find this where
we were trying to
Zero
get in front
Waste
of people.
DC.
Traffic backed up from the Armory, like blocks back where all the roads merge and they were all fighting with each other, and like traffic, no one moved for like 30 minutes, even normal traffic coming through, because it was just that much of a mess.
Yeah, definitely. I can flag this to our deputy director, which is definitely connected to DPW, who can definitely escalate that, since that is definitely an issue that we
I
would
will
want
send
to
you
get that resolved.
Yeah, thank you. I will send you the photos of the day because I documented it.
I'll say this: this is only for batteries, unfortunately. So, but the battery network, it's a battery recycling program where there is drop-off locations in DC. I'm gonna copy so that I can share this.
Surprisingly, flat screen TVs are difficult to get rid of. Best Buy, for instance, will take them, but you have to pay them $200.
Yeah, the problem is always the LCD panels, which contain mercury, which is usually the hardest thing to get rid of, just because it is such a nasty chemical mineral, or to handle. So that is one of the problems. So that's for battery specifically, but for our roll-offs, everything, including e-waste, will be collected and properly disposed of.
I could encourage you to add that to your bullet list on the website, because it's not there. That might be a good little public service thing.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry, I know that was super niche, guys.
All good. Any other commissioners have questions or comments? All right. Thank you so much, Enrique, for joining tonight. Appreciate the time and looking forward to hearing on some of those follow-ups. I see that Laura wants to give a quick pitch on the language access services. So Laura, oh, you raised your hand. That's why you disappeared. You're being promoted to panelist right now. And if other members of the public have any comments or other items that you want to advertise for, feel free to raise your hand. I see you now, Laura. You should be able to unmute and share.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Good evening, ANC Commissioners 1E and members of the public. My name is Laura Gonzalez. I'm with the Office of Human Rights Language Access Program. If you don't know who we are, our mission is to eradicate discrimination in the district, and pursuant to Advisory Neighborhood Commission Omnibus Act of 2016, ANCs can be reimbursed by OHR for costs related to translations and interpretation services, as well as purchase of assisted listening systems, ensuring full participation for residents and commissioners that have limited or no English proficiency. Some of the language reimbursements will be included, such as interpretation meetings like this one, which could be remote or in person, document translations that might be for like meeting minutes or cover agendas or outreach materials, as well as that is created by the ANCs, as well as hearing impaired assistant listening systems. I just want to note that the ANC Omnibus Act of 2016 does not include American Sign Language for ASL services. That's a frequently asked question for us. They're covered under the ADA. But we just want to let you know, as a friendly reminder, please do not hesitate to wait to the end of the year for fiscal 26. ANCs should submit the ANC reimbursement form attaching invoices, service quotes, and proof of payment to myself at my email, which is laura.gonzalez@dc.gov. And you can also follow us on our webpage, which ohr.dc.gov/service/language access. So the deadline will be October 5th, 2026. And that's it for me. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Laura. Commissioners, anyone have a question?
Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely. It was Language Access Awareness Month for April. So we just celebrated 22 years of the Language Access Act of 2004. So we'll be doing some more outreach for the summer. But appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Commissioners.
Oh, I see Commissioner Brown might have a question. I see her hand raised. Before you go,
Yeah,
Laura.
thanks. Thank you, Laura, for the work that you do, and happy Language Access Month as well. And so, yeah, because I know that multiple requests come to your office for language access services, particularly, public meetings in Ward 1, and there seems to be limited capacity and resources for the number of requests. What would you say can ANCs do to raise that? Could there be more accessibility within the office of the OANC to make things more accessible for us to, be able to access these resources? What are your recommendations?
Sure, that's a great question. I would recommend reaching out to our mayor's constituency offices. We work with our partnerships, OA and Moapia, so the Office of Latino Affairs, Asian Pacific Islander Affairs, and also the Office of African Affairs. They primarily work with the constituents, so depending on their languages, I know there's 6 languages for DC, that's including Amharic, French, Spanish, Korean, Chinese, and Vietnamese, and we work hand in hand with the mayor's constituency offices to raise awareness for Know Your Rights for the LEP, NEP constituents. We're also right now working with the mayor's office, actually with Councilmember Bernardo, to also make amendments to our Language Access Act to have more awareness and more enforcement under our law. So that's some of the things that we're working on currently at OHR, and hopefully that will be amended and approved by the mayor coming soon.
Yeah.
So we're working on all fronts to try to get more. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
I can also
enforcement
share
piece
with
that
you
I,
if you would
yeah.
like. We had our hearing, our budget hearing, earlier this month.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any more questions? I hope that helps.
Yeah, my question was more related to the accessing the translation services and the enforcement, you know. Yeah.
We also have a vendor's guide as well, located on our website for approved vendors under our citywide contract. There's currently 3. It's related to MCS, AXI, and TransPerfect. Most agencies are to procure their language services with their own purchase order. I know it's been a big challenge right now for funding challenges for agencies to acquire, but that's something I would say outside of my purview. I would recommend just reaching out to maybe your CFO or just to figure out, how we can get those allocated funds for language services.
Thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem.
commissioners, and thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good rest of your night. Commissioners, any announcements that you'd like to make? And members of the public, please raise your hands if you do. If not, we will move on. Commissioner Brown.
Only if community folks have has that part been cut off for time?
Commissioners go first usually, but no one in the community has raised their hand, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Josh. I think you raised something that was a great segue into update that I can provide because you had asked, I think Councilmember Nadeau's staff about the budget gap for Bruce Monroe. I've been getting some inquiries about that and unfortunately have not been able to provide a lot of updates there. But we were anticipating the park review design process since DPR announced that. I think that was about a year ago, and I haven't heard word from them as to why they haven't started on that process, begun the rollout of the park design charrettes and activities tied to it. So we're just going to have to see how that unfolds, and I'll continue to provide updates to this commission. But it's been, no updates as of now. And yeah, just to confirm, there is a $30 million budget gap. So I'm hoping that the council member can be able to find the money for it because we certainly don't want changes to the project. So that's been the holdup there. And I truly believe that the design charrettes are being held up with the fight of the getting the funding for the housing project design piece of it.
Thank you for that update, Commissioner Brown. And apologies for saying it's 20 million and not 30 million.
No worries. But there is funding for the park. I do want to be,
Yeah.
I want to be clear. Yes.
Any other commissioners or members of the community? All right, we'll move on to officer and committee reports. Just so folks can see, here is where we are on the agenda. Officer and committee reports are limited to 5 minutes each unless extended by the commission. And Robert's Rules typically has secretary and all the different officer reports in a section. So Commissioner Howard thought it'd be a good idea for us to add it in. I think that makes sense. So Commissioner Howard, do you want to start with the secretary's report?
Yep, I'll be quick. I also wanted to get in the habit of, if we send a resolution and the agency responds, that I can attach it to the resolution, so we have it. And so in this situation, if back in March we submitted a resolution on behalf of a condo association here that had no security warranty on file, which is a requirement before you're allowed to sell, they had gone, and I'm working with the council member's office on this issue. This is in my SMD. we submitted a resolution asking them to like a bunch of questions and look into this. What we discovered is that when the council member's office, Councilmember Nadeau, had put in a request for the FOI on the security warranty, it was not there, which triggered. So they responded back in 2024 and said, "There's not one on file." And that's what they told the residents. Well, what the council member's request did was trigger them to enforce that compliance. This is all in the information in the response back that I'm going to put into the record. But essentially, and this is also queuing up a resolution later. But essentially, when they did the enforcement process, the developer turned over the security warranty. But no one told the condo. So for 2.5 years, they didn't know there was one on file because they were told there wasn't one, even though the DHCD went in and later got it thanks to the council member's request. When we submitted our resolution, that forced them to go look at it, and it came up, which is going to help obviously save residents there or the condo owners a lot of money because at least there's a security warranty there. And so we now have that for them. They've got the record. They're working through their claims process as we speak. We're trying to get DHCD over to the condo association to, do that. Working with the council member's office too on. There's a lot of like requirements to get estimates. Like you have to get 3 contractors before you can submit. We're trying to get them to waive that claim since they've had to wait 2.5 years. They already had these estimates done, and they don't want to have to like do more just to do that requirement. So. We're working together with DHCD to try to get them maybe in a special circumstance to, because some of that work was already done too, because it was so long ago. But anyway, this is I want to just attach the official response to the resolution. It tells a good story about our advocacy there. And so just with, Mr. Chair, I move by unanimous consent to submit the email response into the record and attach it to the resolution file.
Is there any dissent to that motion? All right, hearing none. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Commissioner Footer, I see you have your hand raised.
Just a point of clarification, in the agenda, it says DHCD's response on 4/22/25. Should that be 26?
Yes, good catch. Thank you.
Years are hard. I noticed an email from ANC that they said they sent on March 26, 2027. So
getting ahead of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard, for all your work there, and I'm glad to hear that things are at least progressing for the condo folks. Up next, we have transportation and public spaces. I do not see chair of that committee, Ali Batal, in the meeting. So I'll just speak for her since I got updates from her. The committee is going to be considering a resolution around a parking zone for Seton Elementary. Just waiting on some feedback from ANC 1B since it's in their area as well. And their next meeting is a week from today. Commissioner Brown?
Do we have a sense of their vote? I can only assume, but.
Sorry, a sense of what?
Do you have a sense of their vote, how they would vote?
Oh,
ANC 1B?
I don't know. I'm still working through it with the commissioner that lives in the area.
Okay.
I haven't had issues with school parking zones in the past, though, so I wouldn't expect it to be controversial, but. Any other questions or comments related to TPS? Otherwise, we can jump to public safety and engagement. All right. For public safety and engagement, if there's any commissioner who wants to take over the chairpersonship of this, would love to have someone else on board. I took over because Commissioner Newland resigned because he departed his district. So I'm happy to help here, but if there's anyone else that wants to take it over, I'd love to see more folks stepping up. We also need more members of that committee. I think the membership has waned over the past year or so. So if you have anyone, or if anyone in the audience wants to join, or anyone on the commission wants to join more regularly, we'd love to have you. But up first, we have presentation and consideration of a grant request for Lower Georgia Avenue Chili Cook-Off. Commissioner Howard, one thing that I maybe misunderstood earlier, my understanding is that there is a requirement for a presentation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be at the general body meeting. Were you reading something different? Because Alice did present at the committee meeting, and she's here, and I'm sure she'd be happy to spend a few minutes talking about it, but I might have missed something.
That's a good question. I can find out very quickly.
Okay. Well, Alice is here anyway, and I think she wants to talk about the chili cook-off, so I'll just go ahead and recognize her and promote her. And now, again, you don't have to give us anything formal, but if you just want to highlight some of the great work that's been done at past chili cook-offs and what you hope to get out of this one, that'd be helpful.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so just to reiterate, what I presented on the committee meeting, this will be the 6th annual chili cook-off with the Lower Georgia Avenue Main Street. I think it's, from my understanding, talking with business owners who've participated and just people in the community and, colleagues at District Bridges, it seems to be one of, if not the most popular event that we hold on the corridor, because of its inclusion with local businesses who can participate and sort of just the way that it brings together community and specifically small business owners. From my understanding, it's also a very one of its kind event in DC. From at least in terms of the Main Street programs in the district. I'm not aware of other chili cook-offs that Main Street programs do. And so I think that that's such a boon for the Lower Georgia Avenue Main Street sort of identity that people really appreciate. And so I started this process early just because I'm relatively new to this role. So I really wanted to try to find a way to get grant support for it. And we will be hosted by Sunny's. They've already agreed to host it this year. And all of that is in the application, and they're really excited. They've hosted it before. And we'll start the planning process for all of this is really going to start around June to kind of get the buy-in from businesses who will participate, selecting the volunteer jury and all of that kind of stuff, which I'm pretty sure many people even on this call are really familiar with, and maybe some of them have also been jury members. I think it should be a pretty great event as it has been in the past, and it'll be an exciting thing for LGA.
Thank you, Alice. Commissioner Brown, I see your hand raised. Any other commissioners, if you have questions or comments, feel free to raise your hand.
Alice, I love how you say jury members. We were judges.
Oh, right. Judges.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
It's true.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Grant and Jacobson, we were definitely great taste testers as judges. Just for the transparency purposes, can you just either the chairman or Alice outline what they ask for under this grant and the dollar amount that you
I believe it was
requested?
2,500.
Yep, 2,500 for various materials that OANC has approved purchase for. I have that written down. Let me pull them up. And Alice, if you remember, off the top of your head, that could be helpful too while I'm finding where exactly it is written in the application.
For what the 2,500 covers?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me. So yes, it would be for mostly supplies, like the voting supplies, AV rental equipment, like marketing equipment, and then promotional, like with local social media, promotional marketing, and then stories either through like Devour DC or other basically ways just to spread the word about the event to draw traffic to the corridor. Yeah, but most of it is supplies.
OCF approved the AV?
Yep.
Okay.
We have a email from them saying that they approved
Good.
the
Okay.
grant.
Great.
Any other questions from commissioners or members of the public if you have a comment or question? All right, thank you, Alice. You can go back to attendees and we can go ahead and vote. All right, resolution is pretty short. Mentions that they submitted a sponsorship application, mentions that OANC reviewed the application and budget and found that the 2,500 is permissible expenditure. I did not update my template. Application and authorizes the $2,500 for a grant for the chili cook-off event. I'll now accept a motion on the resolution, or if there's any other discussion, we can go there first. But if anyone wants to make a motion, you can go for it.
I move to approve the resolution with unanimous consent.
All right. Is there any dissent regarding the approval? All right. Resolution approved. Thank you all. Up next, so I see Dan Goldberg in the audience, and I know there was some back and forth around a grant for his organization. So I'm just going to go ahead and promote him for now, and we can talk quickly about the Wangari Gardens grant and proceed there.
Hello. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good. Thanks. And thanks for a bunch of the back and forth. I think for right now, I wanted to just get my first, I've been trying to come to more ANC meetings in general. So dip my toes in, and then we'll kind of work, I think, throughout the month, so that I don't feel like this is rushed, since, yeah, we have all summer. And yeah, so I think I just wanted to say hi. And yeah, we'll be in touch, and thanks for the support so far.
Awesome.
I
Well, that
apologize.
works
Do you
too.
mind?
And I was
Can
just gonna,
somebody give
yeah, I
a
was
little-
gonna, there was a request from Wangari Gardens to pay for some new benches, and Wangari Gardens is used by a lot of 1E residents. So still going through the OANC approval process, but we had some back and forth as to whether or not we could fund it because it's physically cited in 5A, even though Wangari Gardens is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, a 1E spot because, you know, all the residences near Wangari Gardens are in 1E, and that's where a lot of the foot traffic is coming from. So OANC said that there wouldn't be an issue with us funding a grant, but Mr. Goldberg had started proceeding or has started following up with 5A on a grant too, just in case OANC said that we wouldn't be able to pay for it. And I see a lot of questions and hands raised. So I think it was Commissioner Brown, then Commissioner Footer, then Commissioner Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Dan, for submitting the request. Not really a question, but a comment is that when our commission, basically ANC 1A, when it included the Parkview boundaries, we have consistently voted to support funding grant applications for Wangari Gardens. So there is a history of that. I think for OCF, if they have questions, maybe we could provide some justification and some background. Resolutions is probably on ANC 1A's website. Also, the Office of the ANC, when Commissioner Bass, he was chairman of 1A, we just have that history of supporting Wangari Gardens. So if there's just any issues with our city agency and approving funding for Wangari, we've just consistently done that as a commission and within these boundaries.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Commissioner, I think it was Footer and then Howard.
I was going to say something similar, not specific to Wangari Gardens, but this commission in particular has established precedent of supporting events, organizations that may be outside of our geographic boundary, because a lot of 1E residents benefit from things that happen around the neighborhood, and so we have a lot of precedent that we can provide the OANC if somebody's like misunderstanding exactly why this is an important thing for us to be able to support.
Thank you, Commissioner Footer. Commissioner Howard.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a person new to this, I would love your feedback on our website, the process, where you thought it was confusing, so we could streamline that. So let's chat later, but I would love to get your feedback.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I guess for those, I don't really know any of you personally. I'm Dan Goldberg. I moved to Parkview in 2023, joined Wangari's board after that. I've been with Wangari generally since 2021. So yeah, I've only been on the board a couple years, but we got a lot of energy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dan, for joining us tonight. And let this be a reminder for other folks in the audience that ANC 1E likes to give out grants. So if you have anything that might be needing support from ANC 1E, you can go to our website and there's a grant process documented there. I think it's a top line link that just says grants.
Take our money.
All right, have a good evening.
Grants, but it says on there.
Oh, news and grants. Okay.
I encourage folks to look at it. We added even like a FAQ section to really this is complicated. So that's why I've got a concerted effort to make sure it's clear, and we'll always welcome feedback. But I encourage folks to look at it.
All right. I'm going to move you back to an attendee. And we're now to the ZED committee. I do not see Mr. Dimitri McDaniel in the audience. My understanding is they did not have topics to discuss last month, so they did not meet. Is anyone else aware of anything other than that?
That's my understanding too. I didn't go to a meeting this past month, but I thought it was because there wasn't one.
Okay, yeah. So their next meeting is Wednesday, June 10th. Georgia Ave Economic Development Special Committee, chaired by Commissioners Grant and myself. Commissioner Grant, I don't know, since I've been speaking a lot, if you want to just give folks a quick update, or I'm happy to do it too.
Sure, Commissioner Jacobson, do you mean in regards to the inaugural meeting or just what homework I've been doing? What do you prefer?
Both, but if you don't want me, if you want me to give the update, I can. I know I've
for
been
it.
speaking a lot, so okay. Don't want to dull
And
everyone
I'll
with the
chime
sound
in.
of my voice. Yeah, so we met for the first time, I think it was earlier this month or late last
Yes.
month. And we have our next meeting tomorrow. That first meeting was mostly just a brainstorming about what we think the committee could accomplish. When we had first come up with the idea for the committee, we had this great idea that we might be able to get some budget asks in for this year, and quickly realized with the state of the budget that the best we could hope for is trying to find the money for Bruce Monroe, and that's probably the most important thing in terms of making sure that Georgia Avenue is successful. So we're trying to figure out if there are any other mini projects or like long-term things that we want to be asking for in future budgets. So there's been discussion around beautification activities, around banners, which Commissioner Footer, I should talk to you about that because I know you did some investigation for banners in Shaw in the U Street area. But yeah, that's basically where we're at. And if folks have other ideas on how to make Georgia Avenue an exciting place to be, would love to hear them, because maybe there are things that the committee could work on and try to grow a volunteer base for with Georgia Avenue Thrive. Commissioners Brown, then Footer, and then Commissioner Grant, if you want to give like the work that you have been doing.
This is great. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, Commissioner Grant.
Good.
Go
No,
ahead.
this is a great update. All makes sense. I noticed that in the meeting and also just within the broader community, there's a lot of interest in beautification and placemaking, and in particular, beautifying the tree boxes. And so I did a little bit of homework there, and positively got a great response from DDOT, who informed me that we can beautify tree boxes. It's no problem. It can be funded by the ANC, as long as we don't put trees in the tree boxes and invasive species. So that's really fair game. And I'm just looking forward to working with neighbors and the committee members on that. That's really exciting. I think that's going to generate a lot of interest.
Thank you, Commissioner Grant. Commissioner Brown, and then Footer.
Yeah, thank you so much for your work on this. I'm really excited to see what comes out of the committee. Just a couple of questions. Has there been any discussion or efforts to reach out to Council Member Janice Lewis George to coordinate some of the findings of the survey that she did when in Ward for Upper Georgia Avenue in Ward 4? And I think there was a few, although quite outdated, surveys that was conducted from Council Member Nadeau's work on the Georgia Avenue Equity Plan. I just think that those are like some resources that we could probably do a look back to see what residents have been requesting, and seeing if there could be a coordinated effort between Wards 4 and Wards 1 on some of the activities that we're doing, because there might be some overlap with what folks are requesting.
I wasn't aware of the work from Councilmember Lewis George's office. Do you have more context there, or know who I should follow up with?
Yeah, I can follow up with the person who is responsible for that survey. I just never saw the findings of it, and I've
When
always
was
been
it?
curious. I think probably about a week and I'm sorry, a year to a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I can ask
we
their
have.
chief of staff.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. And we have David Menny from Nadeau's office
Oh,
involved.
great.
So I assume
Yeah.
we have all of the necessary reports. We found a few. Kent found one from like 2015 that we thought was
Yeah.
lost, but yeah. So we have a few of those that we're putting together that might be helpful.
Yeah. He also did a blog. There was a few, the Georgia Avenue Community Review, the Georgia Avenue Community Development Task Force. That's probably like the old survey results that came out of that. And I think Adam Chammy is also part of your of this committee. And
Yep.
he did like a facade improvement survey of the businesses along Lower Georgia Avenue. All old data, but I think the one that's most recent, not relevant to Ward 1, but relevant to Georgia Avenue, was Janice Lewis George's survey.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll follow up.
I think I saw Commissioner put his hand up, but he pulled it down. Are you good?
Yeah, I was on that same note. One of the first things that we talked about in the brainstorm session was that it's time to in the inaugural kind of thing that spiraled or got this whole thing kickstarted that I hosted, was that we were interested in getting updated data and information in order to see how we can prioritize a long-term plan to try and revitalize Lower Georgia Avenue. And so to that exact point, like I was going to ask if there was any update on getting that data, if there's any determination that data has been outdated. I know that you specifically wanted to kind of continue to take charge of this because you've been working with David Many about how we can leverage that data in order to do something. And the council member's office was interested in doing other more long-term stuff. And so these little things about like doing the plants and the boxes and that kind of stuff are great as like short-term opportunities, but is there any discussion on what the long-term like economic impacts, how we're going to actually move the needle, how that's coming along?
No updates yet. So we were going to make that the initial focus and realize that we weren't going to get anything out of this budget besides maybe getting the funding for Bruce Monroe, and figured like, let's just get to know each other first and then start working through those sorts of things. But yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to be focusing on. And I do have a lot of various data sources that I pulled together that I shared with the committee, and I'm working on something that can be not quite public facing since there might be some sensitive data in there, but something that I can share with the commissions and committee members.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. And Commissioner Grant, you gave your update. Any other questions or comments?
No, I have none. Thank you, Commissioner Jacobson.
All right. Sorry, we have a meeting agenda tonight. We will move on to new business. I'll share my screen again. We already went through this first resolution around amending the SOPs. Second one is amending the standard operating procedures to establish standards for resolution numbering, official document labeling, templates, and record management. Commissioner Howard, do you want to speak about this?
Yeah, and if folks want time to think on this, I'm happy to bring this up at a different time. But just to get us going, I moved to adopt 20260502.
All right, there's a yeah. We can there's a move to adopt this resolution. Commissioner Howard, if you want to go ahead and present, and I'm still figuring out how to show a timer while I am still sharing. So let me see if I can.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll be super quick about this. Basically, there's just in the SOP, there's no guidance on how to format resolutions or how to use them. So I was essentially just I like to have stuff in writing, so when people ask why I did certain things, I can point to language rather than just kind of relying on how we've done it previously. And I eventually want to create on the website just a list of resolutions, and I want to have my own system to verify what has been sent to whom and to make sure I've uploaded all of them into the portal. And what I was realizing is a ton of other commissions do their resolutions serial based on the year. So, the first one you pass of the year is number 1, and then they go all the way through the year. What complicates that a little bit, and you'll see in the whereas clauses where I kind of mentioned this, that the month-based sequence makes it difficult because I don't know if I'm missing one. Like some months have 3, some months have 9, and it's a little difficult to kind of keep track of that with like a master record. And so what I was just essentially going to do was just propose adding 3 digits at the end that would just be the annual sequence, so I could have an easy system to track them. And we were talking Josh and I were talking about like a way of like, we can still keep the month and just do the 3-digit series at the end. But in terms of like, if you're organizing them by file name, that complicates that. And it makes it a little confusing here. So I think the question for the group is, what do we find more valuable? It's hard to do both. It's not impossible, but part of the value of an annual sequence is like, you can kind of have all of them in one spot and you know exactly the order. If you include the month, you kind of have like a 26, 05, 01, and then you have a 26, 06, 012, and like it gets a little, you can't put them in numeric order, obviously, because you have to almost like create an Excel with like the 3 digits would be separate. So it's not impossible.
Sorry.
Huh? Yeah, all I was proposing was a system to label them with an annual sequence. How we do that, open to the group. And again, we don't have to decide this today by any means. But just kind of my thoughts in there. And if you scroll to the resolved clauses, what I'm proposing there. And the rest of it is just, sorry, a little higher, or right there. Sorry, lower, yeah. It's an appendix, so it would be attached as an appendix. And the only part that's really not clarifying anything, this is all just like standard stuff in the DC code and stuff to make sure we did it correctly. We keep going, right? This clarifies what a resolution is, so that's just normal stuff. There is like, that's the section. So the resolution numbers would be like that. And I did a bunch of research, pulled in, which I'll drop in the chat here. Like literally pulled resolutions from all other districts, and so I have that research available to folks. And then the section 6 is just authorizing to create a template to send to every commissioner, so they can, just easily create their own. They don't have to worry about the numbering. And then it says in there, if like at all you ever wanted to change the, like say the secretary has a template that you don't like, then the commission can vote to change it. It's just standard stuff there.
Commissioner Footer, you have your hand raised. I think you're reading, but did you want to speak?
Yeah, this is great, and whatever makes it easier, my opinion is that whatever makes it easier for the secretary to be able to keep track of it and for us to be able to repeat or articulate to the community, like I'm totally on board for. I do think, like, do we want to like expand on this a little bit and just have a little bit more of a formal structure on how resolutions are? Like the way that you guys have been writing resolutions in calendar year 26 is very different the way you've been doing it for the past 3 years, which is great. But like, if you're gonna make amendments and have some sort of like track or record of why we're doing it this way, like, do you want to beef this up? And it's not just about the numbering; it's about including the date that it was submitted, including the author. Like,
so if you look at what I did on, I scroll up to A right there. Essentially, where we would empower the secretary to like, this way we don't have to change the operating procedure every time we want to change something on the resolution format, is that essentially like the secretary would come up with the template, and then if you scroll down a little bit, it'll say that like, if you keep going, it's what I did is added a D in there. So the commission can either require changes to those guidelines or can, you just allow the secretary, if you like the template, then it's fine. But if the secretary won't budge, the commission can vote to change the template, essentially. So like, I think I actually started doing that, Brian, where I was like, okay, we're gonna have font size 12 and 14, and then we're gonna like, and it was just like, I was like, holy crap, like this is a lot to do. So I thought it might be easier just to have a template at whatever the secretary creates it, sends it to like all the commissioners, like this is the template. And so what I was trying to do, if you look at these resolutions for this month, I was trying to show like kind of what a template would look like that I'm kind of advocating for. So like there's a header on every page that it puts who introduced it and when, and what's the latest status of it there. And the style is reflective of the House Representatives, because this is what I know. And so this is exactly how the House does it, down to like how the whereas clauses are operating and how it moves into the resolve section. So it's literally just a copy. I didn't create anything new here. It's literally just a copycat of how the House does it. And then the House also in this italicized, like we're not approving, this is not part of the resolution, but just FYI, the italicized part there, that's where the House inserts the co-sponsors. So if a commissioner wanted to introduce it with somebody else, they could. It's still tied to their name as the chief sponsor, but that's where the co-sponsors would go. And so it's just to give folks acknowledgement if they wanted to. But I dropped in the chat a link. What I did is I pulled from more than 30 ANCs how they do their resolutions and agendas, just to kind of start this process so folks can kind of, I welcome, input and feedback. So, but today was just more about like, let's agree on the file numbering system and authorize the secretary to like create a template, which is kind of what it is now anyway, that's, generally. So it's just kind of formalizing it into, when I went to look at the SOP, how to do my job, I realized there's nothing in there about this stuff. And so I just wanted to have some guidance in there for future secretaries to give them, more guidance. That's all. And so if y'all want another month, happy to, we can happy to move to postpone this to the next meeting. But I defer to y'all. It's obviously written to allow for an interpretation process that way we can do it in like the committee of the whole meeting, rather than like a formal resolution sticking it in the guidebook.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution as written with unanimous consent.
Well, Josh, I know you had. I don't want to dismiss. Josh had some.
There's a motion.
There is a motion. And I'm not going to dissent.
Okay, right.
If other folks want to dissent, that's fine. But Commissioner Foote has made a motion. Well, I guess technically under Robert Rules, Commission, like people aren't allowed to do this, but whatever.
You could just say without objection. You can just say without objection.
Yeah, but without any objection, we'll adopt this resolution as written, and there will be some kinks that we're going to work through, but we can always edit it, and I'm not too concerned. And yeah, if other people are comfortable with the numbering system, that is what is most important to me, because I want to make sure that whatever we do is something that like is easy to maintain long term. So that would be like my only comment there. But anyway, are there any objections? If not, the motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
The one thing I do want to flag, Josh, I think at our next, Mr. Chair, is our the agenda format. Like I'm fine as is, but if you look through the research I sent, it's actually kind of wild, the variations in the agendas for ANCs. It's kind of nuts. So I don't plan to like tackle the agenda, but if folks have advice on things you want to see or whatever, let me know. But Josh and I talked briefly about it, but I thought raised some good points about why we have the format we do. Totally fine with that. But like y'all should look at just out of curiosity, it's pretty interesting.
We did when we created the agenda format back when the commission was created. We tried to simplify greatly from the huge variance that a lot of ANCs do. So,
and I'm going to try to hyperlink to stuff more in the agenda rather than like add content to it. So because I think the chair has a good concern about we don't want to overwhelm it so people don't come. So I'm going to try to link more to stuff rather than dump it in there. Make it easier to see stuff.
The one thing to be cautious about there is OneDrive does not have a great permission structure. So if you add the wrong link to the agenda, you could give the public the ability to edit resolutions.
Yes, and I make sure I always do the can view. And
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on. To the fun one, urging DOH rodent and vector control to partner with experts in fertility management. I'm not thrilled that I have to have a resolution for this, but here we are. So Commissioner Howard introduced a resolution last month around trying to get ANC 1E included, or I can't remember if it was actually introduced or him and I just talked about it offline. But about including.
Never actually introduced it yet. Well,
okay.
We talked about it, and then I said I would pull it because you had a better resolution. This came from a constituent who's asking us to do something on rats. I think.
Yeah. So for background, and I should give myself a timer to be fair to everyone. So for background, DOH announced, or the mayor announced, a pilot that includes better trash enforcement, better trash education, more rodenticides, and fertility management, which is basically birth control for rats. So if someone had asked, why can't we have this in ANC 1E? I was concerned because from what I had heard, some of the fertility management products are not super effective. And we don't really know the best way to deploy them. I was able to network to some experts in fertility management and get them on a meeting with the Department of Health on April 29th. So most of these whereas clauses are recognizing those two experts and the work that they've done and like why they are, so prominent in the field and why I think the Department of Health should be partnering with them. So there's Dr. Giovanna Massi, or I think it's Masai, who's been cited over 6,100 times, has more than 90 publications that have been cited at least 10 times. She's done peer-reviewed frameworks on fertility control for rodents. She's been an editor of various wildlife journals and advised international bodies on wildlife and animal population management, including rodents. There's another expert named Jens Jacob who has had his work cited over 8,000 times. I need to remove this because I already have that footnote later on. He also co-authored that framework on fertility control for rodents. He's a subject editor for vertebrates at a couple of different journals. He chairs different national and international expert working groups on rodent management, serves on a European and Mediterranean Plant Protection Organization panel on rodent control. So both of them are recognized, as far as I can tell, as pretty prominent experts in the scientific field of rodent control and infertility management. During that meeting, and I'm trying to play nice with the Department of Health right now, so I'm just going to broadly say that they expressed concerns with the validity of the current fertility management trial and the effectiveness of it, and they offered to enter into a partnership with the Department of Health and like help advise them. The Department of Health experts or representatives on the call said that they would have to talk to their director. It's been almost a month. I still haven't heard anything, so I think it's appropriate to say, hey, director, we're not seeing updates here. This seems like a great offer for the District of Columbia. We want to encourage you to go ahead and enter into this offer of partnership and like seriously listen to their advice. I don't maybe they're just going to ignore this resolution. And if so, at that point, I will get into much more specifics about what the experts have said, because they and I have serious concerns that what we're doing is not going to actually have an impact or will lead to incorrect results. So yeah, I'll open the floor to questions. Commissioner Footer and then Commissioner Brown.
Thank you for writing this, and it's awesome that you were able to find these people and that they're interested in even participating. Didn't DC do this years ago? And to your point, it was ineffective.
Yeah. So, okay. The longer history there is that DC, okay, whatever. If the Department of Health listens to this and they hear me talking back about what they've done, I don't care at this point. The Department of Health deployed some fertility management products. As far as we can tell, from talking to the experts that were on the call, these fertility management products have not been tested in an urban setting. We do not know like the right way to deploy them or like at what amount that you need to deploy them. This works in like non-urban environments because you can know that the same rats are going to come to the same food source and be dosed with the birth control over a longer period of time. But it can take weeks or months to do that and to prevent the rodent from being able to reproduce after ingesting the product. The previous trial 4 years ago, I guess it was 5 years ago now, I think it was only doing in like short stints. So like, and they weren't seeing any results from that. And it's because they weren't deploying it in the right way. And so the concern that we have now and by we I mean me and the couple of experts that joined the call, is it is like we should be trialing these products because there have been advances in the science. We should be doing something to understand like what is the best way to approach their deployment. But if you do fertility management with rodenticides, with better trash management, and you're not controlling for the different variables, and you have a positive result, you really don't know that the fertility management did anything. All you know is that those three things did something. And it could have just been that you know, did more about trash education, and that like you deployed better bins for businesses, which meant that rats didn't have their food. And, you know, it would be good to trial that by itself and not include all these other things, because if you include all these other things and say that they're having an impact, then we're on the hook for deploying a product that might not actually be doing anything.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, this is why I'm a fan of pilots, to learn. So it's my understanding that Georgetown years ago had a pilot, but I don't know if any of those findings have been made public. It would be good to know. But also, I would love if I definitely appreciate the experts, but other cities have also done this, and I would love to know how the pilots in those cities have worked out, particularly Connecticut, cities in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and you know, because the data can be very telling, and we can look to see if there's any specific demographics that are similar to DC in those cities, what outcomes have happened, and what learnings. I'm particularly interested to know, and maybe the experts have worked with those cities. I don't know. But yeah, just exploring how they approached it. New York City's doing the same. I think that it would be great to explore the government strategies that have been used.
Yeah, New York City is actually an interesting example, because it was like another example of people playing politics and not trying to come to a good solution. So I think it was like the mayor did a bunch around fertility control, and then they didn't loop the New York mayor at the time, and they didn't loop in the council member that had relevant jurisdiction on like one of the council committees. So then the council earmarked funds for better bins, or it might be, you know, mayor said better bins and the council member ended up doing fertility control. But suffice to say, like, there were two competing interests there that decided to deploy two different things and deploy them in the same spot. And frankly, like, there was an impact, but it was likely just the result of New York actually using bins for the first time and not just throwing trash bags on the sidewalk. But I agree to your general point. So from talking to those rodent experts, it sounds like no urban area has like really tried to invest the resources to do this well, and they'd be happy to advise on that. And there are like some upcoming opportunities to get funding to do that, but just a bit concerned about like the way that this one's being approached.
Yeah, because I think the pilot is happening in Adams Morgan, but hasn't started. So, and there's, to me, I couldn't find any public information on how they would initiate the rollout of the pilot. So it'd be good to explore that with DOH, but would love for the resolution to recommend the District of Columbia also exploring those cities that have pilots and looking at what the findings and the outcomes of those pilots were.
I guess, would you be open to me just doing that and keeping this resolution focused on the partnership?
Say it again, me just doing that. What does that mean?
Me just doing the follow-up with the experts that I've met in terms of like understanding what other cities have done and keeping this resolution focused on we should have the partnership.
Oh, so is this focused on the partnership, or is this informing how like our ANC's recommendations on what can be done to improve the pilot before they move forward with it?
This is just on the partnership because I'm trying to play
Okay.
a little bit nice
Okay.
or not call their baby ugly.
Okay.
But yeah, happy to do some of my own follow-up on what other cities have done.
Yeah. Are they looking for like, does this partnership involve like a contract or money, or is this just researchers willing to be reached out to and learn?
Researchers who are willing to be reached out to and to join regular calls to help
Yeah.
advise on the program.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners or members of the public? All right, I will now accept a motion regarding this resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Commissioner Grant, I saw you went off mute.
Aye.
Did you mean to?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All those opposed? And any abstentions? All right, with a vote of 4 in favor, 0 abstentions, and 0 against, the resolution carries. Okay. Next one, calling for improved condominiums warranty security notification and transparency. Commissioner Howard, do you want to present?
Yes, sir. Just go on. I move to adopt Resolution 1E 202605-06, the resolution calling for improved condominium warranty security notification and transparency.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second? And then we'll open up for debate. I'll second it.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner Howard.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, this is essentially a follow-up. I briefly mentioned this in the officer report, but this is basically what happened, as I mentioned, that there was not, once there was an inquiry about the warranty and they were told there was not one, DHCD in its code enforcement process later found, basically compelled the condo developer to turn over the security warranty, and they got it in like February of 2024. So the initial inquiry came in, in December 2024 from the councilman's office. You can see the dates there. In February, DHCD reached out and threatened action, and shortly thereafter, the developer turned over the security warranty. However, this was back in 2024, 23. But no one ever told the condo association. And so there's no requirement necessarily that I can find that compels DHCD to notify condo associations across the city that when they eventually when they discover a new record in the code enforcement process, there's no notification to the affected condo association. So essentially, if you scroll down a little further, that's just all the background there, which this commission knows well because we passed the resolution back in March. So the resolved is we call upon them to adopt an administrative policy requiring them to notify condo associations whenever they receive, renew, increase, reduce, substitute, release, or otherwise materially modify a condominium's warranty security, which is a very specific but important file document, that we recommend that they review cases where they have attained new records to enforcement actions, and let folks know, so kind of like an audit almost, and then that within 30 days of this resolution, that they provide us and the councilmember's office, I want to keep her involved here, an update regarding the status of the city passed a law that requires a public searchable warranty security record. Like a year or two ago, they, in the last committee testimony to the council, have said that it's not up and running. And so what I have said, they're not fully operational. So if you scroll down, what I just basically said is give us an update on where we are on that, just so we know. And then that we also coordinate with the Condominium Association Advisory Council to like we work with the DHCD, the Condo Association Advisory Council, and OANC to give commissioners, to encourage folks to go if there's a record not found, and it was with it's been a year or two, to encourage folks to go reach out to DHCD and ask again, because they might have discovered the file later. And so if you are if you're a condo association owner and you don't have you've got all these repairs building up, you might reach out again because they might have found it in the code enforcement process. So we're trying to get at this both ways, trying to encourage DHCD to do their own process, but also encouraging commissions to be aware of this issue. And so if they have folks that come forward, that they can encourage them to file, or a commission can request on their behalf through an FOI request, and just see if anything was discovered in the last year or two. So trying to get at it both ways there is where I was getting there. And then that last one is just to refer this to the council for statutory requirement, like a statutory notice requirements that if they obtain a new record, I'll let the council figure that out. But in the meantime, there's some stuff we can do in real time. So that's it, right on time. I got a minute left. Okay, cool.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard.
And I did my research to try to figure out what was policy, and so this is written as if even if the policy is there that I couldn't find anywhere online or in research, I don't know. This is written to still stand. So we're not accusing them of anything. It's just encouraging them to do some constructive outreach.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Well, thank you to Marcus Carr, who's the condo president for the Exchange condominiums that are in my S&D. Really, and their lawyers have been battling this effort for a while, and I'm glad that our commission could help. And we're going to keep advocating, because that's how this originally started, by the way, was Marcus asking us to do a resolution like this. And I was like, well, hang on, let's dig into this a little bit. And when we dug in, we found the security warranty. So now we're back to the original request, which is this effort here so other condo associations don't have to suffer the same fate.
Yep. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Only thing that jumps out to me is that most of the resolutions will have a clause just saying so-and-so is able to, right. So I can just, if you're okay with that, I can just add that in quickly.
Please, I just forgot to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other commissioners, any questions or comments, or members of the public? I think overall this is really great work, and I appreciate everything that you did here. And I have a friend that lives there, so they definitely appreciate it too.
It pays to be annoying.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I know.
Seeing no other comments or questions, I'll accept a motion to adopt this resolution. Or I suppose I can just say without objection, we'll adopt this resolution technically, right? Okay.
Yep.
Without objection, we'll adopt this resolution as written. Hearing no objection, the resolution is adopted.
Thank y'all.
And one last one.
Yeah, this one's a little more complicated, but I'll just, Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution 202605-07, requesting expedited traffic safety review for Park Place Northwest between Otis and Princeton.
I'll second, and before I forget, some of our numbering is off now, so we might want to fix that, but I think those administrative things we can fix later.
Yeah, okay.
But just want to make a note of it for us. But yeah, go ahead and present.
Great. So let me pull up my notes here on this. This was a direct request from a constituent. We were working with an issue in the council member's office who encouraged us to do this. The resolution is responding to serious traffic safety concerns on Park Place Northwest between Princeton and Otis. Residents there have reported repeated dangerous speeding, crashes, hit and runs, totaled park vehicles, and a recent shooting involving a speeding vehicle, which about 18 rounds were fired. There's also, this is just on a personal note, when I was running for ANC and knocking on doors, this issue actually came up from multiple people. And so we had a constituent who did a lot of, sent me a lot of data and information and reference numbers, which I cite in there, MPDs, for instance, record numbers that basically outlines the facts of what we're talking about here. And so even DDOT has confirmed that the safety request has been submitted to the traffic safety input system. And so we know it's in there, but the residents and neighbors are hoping for more than just a place in line. They want a clear, timely review of what safety treatments are feasible on this block. So our resolution asked DDOT to evaluate options on everything from raised crosswalks, lane narrowing, daylighting, hardened center lines, driver feedback signs, curb bulb outs, and automated speed enforcement, and to provide a written update within 30 days. The goal of the resolution is to encourage DDOT to act with urgency, explain its options to us, and give residents a real timeline. So I urge you to support it. There's a highlighted portion in there at the bottom, Josh, as you read on there. This was something you had flagged about the original request. The constituent wanted was a great weight consideration. You are more familiar with the rules around that than I am. And so on advice of the chair, just change that to just say an official request of the commission. But I'll let you explain that a little bit, Josh, because I know that was language the constituent wanted in there. And I didn't have the background you do. So, but with that, that's it.
Yeah, no, the point I made there is if you look at code, great weight only applies to things that have been noticed to an ANC and does not technically apply to anything that like ANCs are being proactive on. I wish it would, but it like the code just says great weight is for things that have been noticed, and yeah, usually agencies will at least like listen to some of what we have to say. But yeah, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, and I think this is probably more of an oversight issue of all the TSAs in the pipeline that have yet to be moved. So, I know this commission, particularly when we were in ANC 1A, had a laundry list of TSIs that have been, just kind of sitting there. And I hope that this one would move, considering the fact that there's been a significant number of crashes that they've experienced. So, yeah, I support it, but also just recognizing that there's a issue with the system and DDOT just not taking this up as a priority.
Do you know what has there been a like, did they explain what the issue is? Do you know? I'm just curious.
Explaining the issues?
Yeah, I mean, like, is it just that the system is just antiquated and they're behind?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry, Brad.
Sorry. Is it? Well, I'm just curious what the issues are with. I'm not familiar with the system or the service.
The TSI system?
Yeah. Is it just like a technological?
They have a dashboard, so you can track where they are, but they don't really talk about a realistic timeline of following up. And particularly this ANC has had a significant number of TSI requests that have been lost in the pipeline or just not been followed up on. The dashboard makes it more transparent, but it does nothing about kind of pushing DDOT to actually move on the request. And I think that it probably takes a relationship with the community liaison or any of the DDOT agency directors, if you have a relationship with them, to help prioritize it. Unfortunately, okay. That's been my experience.
That's helpful.
I'm supportive of this too. Are there any other questions or comments from commissioners or members of the public? All right, without objection, we'll adopt this resolution. Is there any objection? All right, resolution is adopted. Thank you all. Almost there. Announcements. Office of Planning has requested our representation at a roundtable on Saturday from 10 to 11:30. I'm happy to attend this. Not sure if anyone else really wanted to go, but.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
Okay. And then the next general meeting of ANC 1E is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held virtually, and we'll have committee meetings throughout the month as well. And at that point, I will accept a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
Move to adjourn.
All right, without objection, we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank
Night,
you.
everyone.
Brad, can you stick on for just a second? Yep. I want to figure out logistics.
You want to stop the recording?
Oh, yeah. Stop recording. And then there